welcome to RPG Research and our, I'm on the wrong, our weekly electronic role-playing game development meeting. Today is December 19th, 2020. Nearing the end of the year of the confirmed crit. Almost there. Just gotta hang in there a little longer. And we're a little light on staff, it looks, today. This is pretty typical around the holidays. A lot of people get holidays. And also remember, next week there will not be a meeting because that is our holiday day. It seems some people were confused about which day was the holiday, as I've seen from some emails I've received. But thank you for being here and making it today. Yes, cameras. All right. Well, so let's go ahead, and Valerie, you've got your agenda, so go ahead, do the check-in, and take it away.
Okay, Dario?
I'm here.
Luke?
Here.
And Doug?
Hello.
Yep, so to start today, we were just going to first check in about populating the Neverwinter Nights modules, see if anyone had made progress, if anyone was having any trouble. If you haven't gotten to it, don't worry about it. We've given you a lot of other things to look into. So I guess we can just go down the line and we'll address each of you where you're at. So Dario?
I'll finish it up by the next meeting because I think I made a little bit too many combat encounters in mine. So I'll tone it down a bit before I send it over.
Okay. Luke?
I think my module's pretty much done. I added a little bit of combat with some wild wolves outside the castle. I think the main thing I'm waiting for is I want to see how Trevor's doing his voice acting thing. I think that would really help me boost my immersion in my scenes. But I'm waiting to hear back from him on that.
Okay, the last I heard from him, he was still trying to figure out how to implement the audio files. So yeah, I might be a bit. Doug?
I mean, mine's done, essentially. I could always add to it. I don't know if you read, I emailed it to you with those notes. The one trick there is I had edited a default game behavior. And I actually put that back because when we started adding combat, it was basically like amnesty. So you could attack once and walk away and they'd forget.
Okay.
So I put it back, I said the NWC2 default 3 is back the way it was. And I made a script, I think called, I don't know what it's called. It's in the notes that I sent. And that should go on all of the NPCs specifically. But then I have some combat. I put the key in his bag and added dialogue to that effect and more of the Shakespearean dialogue and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So next we're going to discuss Minecraft.
Before you do that, did everybody send you their current Neverwinter Nights snapshots of what they do have so we can at least get the latest version on the server?
I have Doug's, but I don't have most of the other current stuff.
Okay.
You can use mine. It has a lot of
put it up there. Let me
you
check.
can use it if you want.
One at a time. Valerie, you want to?
Yeah, okay. Dario.
I was just saying that you can use mine, even though it's not done. It has a little bit too much combat, but I mean, if y'all want, y'all can check it out.
Okay. So yeah, just send me whatever you have, and then we'll do feedback on it when they're running it and make adjustments as necessary. And Luke, do you have something you can send over?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's V5 or V6. That's my newest one. If it's V5, it's already up there. Just double check.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got that.
Yeah, so next would be Minecraft clone. We were between Classic Cube and Terrassology. Did anyone find any other contenders we should discuss, or would it just be between those two? So we had discussed a little bit before you showed up, Hawk, that terrassology may be the only one of the two that actually has crafting, which might be a big influence on the decision there.
So the full version of the other one does not have crafting.
Not that I saw. I took a look. I looked at the control sheet and everything, like in the actual inputs. I could not find it.
And I just specifically looked for can you craft in it, and I can't find anything on it.
Classic Cube, right?
Right.
Okay, so I see creative mode. Is that what we're talking about here?
That might just be like building terrain and stuff.
Let's see. Recreation of Minecraft Classic with custom blocks. Custom particles in. Great web. Okay, so that's just the worlds that they texture packs. I just want to make certain we're certain about that, because the big advantage that ClassCube has is the web-based factory. Skins. And the correct term is crafting. That's the feature that should be called.
Yes.
Another term that's used.
Yeah, it seems like none of them though have a crafting table.
So terrassology does not either.
Terrassology has like crafting, but like the best way I can explain it is like it's like AR, like you're looking down on the ground and you're crafting stuff. It does the same. It is the same feature though. It's just a little different.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, if ClassCube has it under a different name. Okay, I see something here that says date is recent is, I think, October 2016 or October this year. Says finally added some basic inventory and crafting support. Saved on the server mob. So crafting a server side thing?
Usually the clients do it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I don't.
That's weird.
But it says, okay, so this is someone who says, I made a survival client with dynamic lighting, fully functioning. Some ideas from your client I wanted to bring to our client. Oh, I guess it's on their server to download their client. Okay, it's in their GitHub. Crafting table. Interesting that there's a lot of classic craft discussed on the Minecraft forum themselves. Classic. Yeah, a lot of these are listing odds. Is there a Classic Craft, Classic Cube, Discord channel or anything anybody checked out to see if there's somewhere active that they could tell us definitively one way or the other?
I think there was some stuff on their website. Let me check.
Okay, let's see if we can get in there and get a definitive.
The forum built into their website.
Okay, let's get into both of those and let's post and say, hey, that we're really interested in this, but it looks like crafting is missing. Are we missing something? Is there a way to get crafting working, or is this actually not available? And then we also need to check on Terrasology to make sure it actually works as expected. You actually see it working, like try it out yourself or watch a video of it work.
I saw videos showing the Terrasology thing. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. I did find out where it is in the control scheme,
Okay.
but like for some reason I couldn't get it to work.
Huh.
Luke, did you go in one of the? It's only in some of the builds I read.
Oh, it's not in all the builds?
No, I didn't try it myself,
like
but I
a new
saw.
game from the downloaded build, like the newest one.
Why is that missing from all of them? It's such an important feature.
It's probably really hard to code, I would imagine.
Copyright, maybe?
Well, it's not copyright. It would be a patent. Be the only thing to stop you from creating the feature.
Yeah, because you have to pretty much store all the end pieces and all the combinations. Whereas these, I guess, more primitive versions of crafting, you sort of have to know the recipe ahead of time of what you want to make. Easier to code, but there's a bigger learning curve.
And did we already rule out Classic Craft?
I don't remember which one that
Is
was.
that on the list that was ruled out?
Let me see if we made an issue for it.
It's classiccraft.ca.gy, whatever.
I see feedback for craft, but not classic craft.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding their website.
I don't know how legit this is. Classicraft is trademark of intranet. They've got a GitHub. Well, that's okay. That's a split. Somebody took Classicraft, worked it into Classical Sharp Survival, supposedly.
I found that. That has the survival mode. I think I found the same thing you're looking at.
Yeah, and it claims to have crafting.
It's also really inactive. The last time it was updated was 2 years ago, that repo.
That's interesting because the posting is just this summer.
That's really weird.
July 28th. Saying that they forked Class of Sharp and added survival mode. So far, see, well, not going to spam it. CA.Y, but I don't see. GitHub, but there's a screenshot of supposed crafting. Assuming that, well, that crafting bench, I don't got all this. I think it is. It's been a while since I played mine. Let me share this.
I also know Minecraft's also odd because like they have like 2 different forks of the same game, like officially, because they have like the C# one for Windows and they have the Java one.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
most people prefer the Java one, which I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? I'm like, why would you have two versions? What?
Yeah, I think it had an internal falling out. I don't know. All right. So, right, isn't that a crafting bench?
See, I saw that. That's what I was seeing in Classic Cube too. Like you could select the blocks. That's not like the same as like going onto the
Well,
table.
no, but don't you need these supplies in order to? Isn't that a step in the crafting? Is you have to have these supplies and you select them and put them able to stuff.
Yeah, that is a step. I
Yeah,
don't
but it's a little different because in Minecraft, you know, like let's say you want to make a door, you go to the door section and then it'll tell you what are the requirements of it.
Right.
Whereas this one, you
in
sort of
older
have to
Minecraft,
know.
you just had to know before even.
Yeah. I think if we
Oh,
accept
maybe.
that there are no crafting tables, maybe Classic Cube would be a slightly better choice. I'm not saying Terrassology
Yeah,
isn't
if
good.
neither one has crafting, what else is there to differentiate other than Classcraft? Excuse me, Classic Cube has a web client, helpful.
Yeah.
Who
So
said
it's
something about was it you? Was it Doug or Dario that said something about the crafting's only in certain versions of Terrassology?
Doug.
Doug, what were you? What did you find on that?
Yeah, that was here. Let me send the forum thing. They're talking about different. I was actually trying to get mine open to see. You know how you can? There's so many like options in that.
Uh-huh.
Here, I'll put it in the chat. It's like throughout. This is looking for a list of recipes. This throughout the ages variant.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you play throughout the ages, that probably has it, but not all of them.
I'm trying to verify that. I heard somebody was talking about pressing the Q key.
Do I have Terrassology on this computer? Hang on. No, I do not.
okay. They do have a Discord and Patreon. On it. So I'm on the Classic Cube Discord. Get to it. Out, I might create an audio loop here. There's the Discord invite.
I have so many Discord servers on my screen, it's not even funny.
That's
like you know that tab on the left.
the research process.
It's great.
Oh, Discord. Yeah, no, that's well, and you can't. I don't use the actual app because the Linux version is such a pain to update.
Oh, it
I just
is.
use the web version, so I can't scroll down. So I
Couldn't
have
you
to start
just do
using
like
groups
the
and stuff.
app get update or whatever?
What?
Can you do like the update command for that specifically? Like I forget what it is.
It borks like every other version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll work once and then it'll bork, and it's more
I've
hassle.
I've
than it's
used
worth.
it before from the CLI and it's been all right for me, but
Yeah, it's just more hassle than it's worth.
yeah, no problem.
Because they push updates so frequently.
Yeah, like every time on Windows, like almost every time I start my computer, oh, new update, cool.
They have in-hand crafting under the controls in Terasology.
See, that's what I was talking about. That's what it was called.
The other in all of that list of crazy large list of features, they have the modules for crafting, but they're all highlighted in red, and they say this can affect stability. Say what it say: wood and stone crafting, wood crafting. It says enabling the extra modules, especially for those not in a stable lineup, can cause game crashes and broken worlds. Handle with care.
Say that
That's
again.
horrible.
They have a warning. All of the crafting modules are in red, and they say warning: enabling extra modules, especially all those not in the stable lineup, can cause game crashes or broken worlds. Please handle with care.
Yeah,
Ooh,
well,
boy.
that's true. That's true of most mods.
But they're singling them out on their list. You know, the crafting.
Like their
ones.
official crafting
And that's
is
on
already still out.
Terasology.
Yeah, if you go in, if you have it local, if you go into the advanced game setup on single player, you can see what I'm talking about. It's I think the only ones in red that applies to are the crafting. Oh, yeah, they're all the crafting ones. It looks like.
Interesting.
Stone crafting, wooden
See
stone,
how
wood.
active this channel is. It looks like it ebbs and flows. Happens like they're little bursts each day. At least it's daily.
Yeah, hopefully we get something back.
Yeah.
Well, how many users are there's like a few hundred in here, which isn't bad.
Yeah, that's better than ours, sadly. We could get all of our volunteers to actually connect on Discord, it would look a little better. Still there?
Mm-hmm.
My monitor crap out.
I still see a picture on the stream, like OBS.
Yeah.
They have workstation and workstation crafting, so there must be.
Didn't it say though on Terasology's site? Yeah, it says right here it's in pre-alpha, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Just
Oh, we got a no, by the way, huh?
quit. think it's because I have another computer hooked up to the other input and we got confused. Oh, but the audio's still screwed up.
Hawk, I don't know if this matters. You're still screen sharing.
Okay. Thanks. All right, Class Cube doesn't really have a survival mode, so no, it doesn't have crafting. Recreation of the old version of Minecraft Java Edition, not Classic, so do not expect to find any survival aspects in the. All right. Got a response there in Discord. We need it as far as a more definitive answer. So, can we get the terrassology crafting? Because if we can't get crafting to work in any clone, then the simplicity of Classic Cube is appealing, right? Because it has the cross-platform with web, and it's a good intro for kids who don't have money to buy the full version, etc. And we can at least help them get started, right? And that web-based makes it a lot easier than installing something. So if none of them support crafting, is there anything else that terrassology stands out better than Classic Cube?
To me, it's a little bit more visually appealing.
But just a little.
Well, it's different than Minecraft itself and all the other Minecraft clones that we've seen.
Okay.
But it is bulky. There are a lot of options. So it seems like Classic Cube is more convenient and it's better for, especially if someone's not very comfortable using computers, Classic Cube will be better. But I mean, who knows? I mean, if these people are really committed to the Minecraft experience and they're committed to learning everything, then maybe terrassology would, yeah.
Yeah, and we verified that there's a server for both, right? We can host a server either one.
I know you can for Classic Cube for sure.
Yeah, I only know for Classic Cube, but I don't know about terrassology.
Oh, well, that's a showstopper if we can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They have a launcher, so maybe that's in there. All that stuff.
Player terrassology. Read me as some notes. Nothing extra needed.
I found a thing that shows you how to provide a list of game servers so that you have to be able to have a game server to make that list. So I think terrassology does allow for it.
Yeah, but is it like you're running a Windows box, or is it that we can have a Linux one? Specifics. Terrassology's project. Curious. Got a Patreon. Technology documentation. Headless server. But need run some Java switches. I love Java. I'm so sad that it solved so many decades of problems that are coming back. Java really did solve so. I don't know if you guys can just appreciate how many things Java solved that now we're fractured again. And there's all these different programming languages you have to learn for different applications and different tools and different environments. And Java had gotten to the point where you just focus on Java, and it had, had all these different faces, but it was all just Java programming. You didn't have to learn a new language every 5.
I'm running into that problem right now. There's a
Yeah,
project I want to do on the side. It's like, oh, I got to learn C. Okay, cool.
Without Java, we're back in the bad old days. We're back in the dark ages again, of the 70s and the 80s and early 90s. Java solved so many things well. C# is not going to, because it's not in Microsoft's interest to do so. Mono will always log. It doesn't have the same ubiquity and everything. It's a real shame. Bill Joy and the others really were right on. And wish they could. I mean, Java's still out there through IBM and the others, but just doesn't have the umph that it had since from Java 8 onwards, since Oracle took it, started to back away. I think it's really actually quite representative of cultural changes too. We were much more unified together to solve problems. Java back to fractured.
I also, isn't Oracle like kind of a mess right now? Because now they own like half of TikTok. They have SQL stuff. They have Java. They have everything.
They've always been a mess. The owner is an egotistical, maniacal. The founder of it. I don't know who's in charge now, if he's still the same guy or not. But he and Bill Gates were always trying to outspend each other, buy a bigger house, buy a bigger car, buy a bigger.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on him. I heard about that.
And it was. I was in the middle of all of that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, childish, just totally immature, childish.
I heard there's a story. I'm pretty sure it's true. Like the owner, his name's like Larry, right? Larry Ellison.
Yes.
His friend ordered like some brand new Ferrari that no one else had, but he wanted to have that Ferrari first, so he ordered it and had it shipped to New York. He flew to New York and drove the Ferrari all the way back to California just so he had it first.
Yeah, hyper competitive. Larry Ellison. It's Larry Ellison, and yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't break down on the way back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
yeah. Yeah, he's currently worth $75 billion. Still looks like he's got his fingers heavily in. But since Gates retired and such, don't hear and Jobs died. Jobs didn't really play the same game as far as that. He had his own. He wasn't into the same spending, Gates and Ellison. It was so childish. So all of you, if you haven't already, if I haven't told you already before, should have bookmarked and check out regularly /.org. You guys familiar with that?
What was that?
/dot.org. So spelled out SLASH DOT and then period org /dot.org. So for techies and people who, it's news for nerds, stuff that matters is their slogan.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're the ones who got the term the /dot effect. So in the 90s and early 2000s, when we didn't have enough bandwidth, the /dot effect, if you got front page on /dot, meant it was a form of denial of service attack. Because you would get this is during the .com boom and all of that. You would get so much traffic straight to your website all at once that it would overwhelm your servers if you got on /dot page. That has, since faded, but it's still a great little news feed site, and everybody can contribute to it, and then it gets voted up and all of that. But it's a civil. I mean, it's not what it used to be. It used to be much more civil than it is. It's a lot better than like Reddit or something. So
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great site. It's all sorts of like AI and a lot of stuff that we do. I check in, so it's a good thing like in the morning to check in there and just kind of go through your /dot feed, and it kind of keeps you in the loop of some of the greatest innovations and other things that may impact your career in tech. Highly recommend it as a regular resource.
Okay, I
What's
found
that?
crafting in Terrasology.
You did? Awesome.
It almost crashed my machine. Your guys' conversation was breaking up, but it did. It does.
Did you see what he recommended that they can't afford? Nope, and honestly, most of them are straight up cheap ripoffs of Minecraft Premium.
In the Discord.
Yeah.
He's like, you just can crack accounts. I'm like, yeah, right, dude. I see what you're saying, but also no.
Yeah. So survival is, tell me the difference between the different modes. Again, it's been a few years since I played this with my kids, and I hosted multiple servers for people. I had dedicated Minecraft servers, but it's been years since I played it. So remind me about the different modes, the difference between survival and other modes.
Creative is basically just like virtual. It's like a virtual Lego bucket. You just build stuff and like build pretty things
Right.
and all that, like bases or whatever. And then survival mode's like you're playing the game. You have to eat water. You have to eat, drink,
Right.
like like
And
craft.
none of these support survival mode, huh?
The one I just put at that whatever that is, Josharia's survival.
Yeah.
If you have Terrasology down and start a new game with that module template, you begin with a crafting table. It has a lot of deep features.
Okay.
Oh.
It's
Because
the only
we
one.
can put, if the burden, like here's the question: is the burden going to be put on the end user, or can we put the burden on our server, and then they just need to have the normal client? Because when we started having them have to have mods, it gets complicated, right? Because then you run into what version works with what, and it gets really complicated when you get too many mods going. Is this something that we're able to put on our server so that they can connect and grab it and be able to play? Or is it that everybody who connects is going to have that many more complicated downloads to even play? What's funny, Valerie?
Sorry, I'm kicking my sister over here.
Oh. Hello, Valerie, sister.
Can't hear you, but they said hello.
All right. So how does that process work? Do they have to install more mods on the client side, or is it something that can be on the server side? And like when they connect, it's pushed to the client if needed. You know?
I do not know. That mode came.
I would
with
imagine
my base download.
It's a mod.
But Terrasology does support survival mode. Because we're missing an entire mode. That's problematic. Survival and Terrasology open source survival and discovery game, new build. gaming on or back in 2014. Open source survival and discovery game. All right. So do we just basically need to set up both and play with both for a while so we can make a decision? I think that's what we're down to.
That works to me.
Okay. All right. So let me put it on my to-do list. I was trying to avoid another item, but I don't think I really want us to make an informed decision. We are RPG research after all. And these are things we have to research. We do our due diligence as best we can, and then sometimes we have to evaluate. So I need to set up server and clients for Cube. Mythology. Then what's the plugin or what is that? Josharia's survival? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that came by default with the base Windows download.
Okay,
That's
that's
one of
good. I'll just make
You
sure.
just have to
that-
toggle it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well that's promising. All right. So I wanted us to make a decision, but if we can't do an informed decision, then let's get more data. I will set those servers up. Hopefully they're not too much of a pain. Some Minecraft servers have been a piece of cake, and some of them have taken hours to get set up, especially the mods. But I will try to get that started today, and I'll post in the ERPG dev room progress on that. And then when we do get them up and running, I'll probably start a Minecraft channel, discuss all. Good. Maybe mine clone. All right, Valerie, what's next?
Well, next would be our discussion of the data storage options, but we
Yes.
are almost at 11, so we should probably take a break before we jump into that.
All right, let's do that then. Let's take a short break, and then we're back in a few.
Hey Hawk. Real quick before break, I was going to ask you, since you probably have experience with this, how difficult is the programming the original C?
Original
Like
flat C, not C++.
No C++, just C.
It's not as bad as C++.
Okay.
It's a simpler
I
version.
just I don't. Is there? I know C++ originally was called C with classes. Is there I'm guessing there's no classes in C at all.
It's been so long since. Well, Linux, you do C stuff all the time. It is more straightforward.
Okay.
Than C++.
That's good news.
It's more limited, but it is more straightforward. But
because I
it
looked
also has its
into
own weirdness,
I'm looking into maybe for a side project. I found that the original PS1 game development software kit is online.
Okay.
You can develop PS1 games. I was looking into that on my as a side thing. But it's straight C, or you can choose assembly. You don't have very many options.
Oh, I would take C over assembly.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
I did assembly with a 16-key hexadecimal keypad with LED.
Ugh.
That was my interface, was a bunch of LED. And I would get hexadecimal codes, and those codes told me if it. Then I had to keep adding complexity, and then
that's just giving me anxiety thinking about that.
Yeah, that was part of my computer science degree. I had a very hands-on. We had to do accounting in a program that was all written in Fortran. Fortran. Lord. It's because the creator of the school, he was both an accountant and his favorite language was Fortran. So when he was creating the accounting department, he went with his favorite language when he created all of the software that we double entry L's and all with.
Was this before Excel?
What's that?
Was this before Excel and things like that?
No. This was 96, 98.
Oh,
I didn't go to school for programming stuff until the mid 90s, till kid born. I just learned naturally. I started programming when I was 9 by teaching myself magazine stuff like that back then. I didn't actually take classes, and I just needed to get the degree in my mid 90s to get jobs.
Yeah,
I was self-taught.
It's not like nowadays where a degree is not as required.
Depends on the position. If you want management, it's still it's very much
Yeah, but for, like your average, like job in that field.
Coders, they want certifications. They want certifications and experience. 2 to 3 years experience and cert.
But it's not as like what I'm saying. It's not as like the end all be all as it used to be.
Right, except
There are-
certs. If you can't show your code and work history and like you worked on a big project that's well known, etc., that you can prove, then certifications, you've got to have a certification. Not as
Mhm.
important as a degree, the certification. If anybody's a hands-on coder, they want to see certs. Just go through the hiring process. But yeah, I mean, again, if you can prove your work, if they believe you, you can
like
get
an
your
open
foot in the
source
door.
code or like reference of the employer or something like that.
Right, yeah, but you got to be able to prove it. That's the problem. And if you don't have that, then certification's your best option, better than a degree. There's a million people with degrees who can't code worth crap. The certification at least says you're a minimum standard, usually above what they teach in school. And then they want 2 to 3 years minimum experience, right? A lot of people here just to get that experience. And since it's open source, you can actually prove. You can say, "Here's my code. I can show you," and that's why this is beneficial to people. But yeah, C is not as much of a nightmare as C++ in stuff, but it has its own weird isms. And I occasionally have to hack some C code in the Linux world. So yeah, if you already know the C syntax from C++, you'll be fine.
Cool.
It's not going to be Java, C, C#, small
Like
talk.
any of those C style languages.
All of those,
if you know
yeah,
one.
their syntax is similar enough. You can grok it pretty quickly.
Awesome.
Anything else?
That should be it.
Okay, back in a few minutes. and welcome back. And we're continuing our ERPG dev meeting for December 19th, 2020. All right, Valerie, go ahead.
Okay, so we're now looking into our data storage options, which we had JSON, XML, and SQLite. We did have a fair amount of notes in Odoo, most of them from you, Hawk. But Doug had also posted his feedback in there. So Doug, you said that you had changed your vote to JSON.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do a one size fits all approach, that would be my vote now, probably, considering. But I'm everything. The notes that Hawk posted make sense, so I'm good to go with whatever.
Okay, did anyone else? First of all, has everyone seen all of Hawk's notes, or do we want to?
I'm just scanning through them again. And I also posted in the issues tab in our GitHub. I posted my thoughts and what I found.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to run us through an overview of that, then, Luke?
Yeah, let me just pull it up to make
Under
sure I'm.
Luke's data research for next meeting.
Yeah, that sounds like it to me.
Yep.
What? Oh, I gotta get to our repo. I'm in those terrasology ones. There we go. So it's just like a markdown file I made. I think okay, I remember the biggest issue with SQLite was since it doesn't have native support in Godot, that might be a problem. There are like a lot of those plugins, like those parsers we found, let you use SQLite in Godot. One of them, I forget which one, is actually available. Even it's still open source, but like open to download on the Godot store. So you would just download it. Like there's no like cloning or forking or any of that, which is still pretty easy. But JSON and XML, like they have built-in parsers and like classes to manipulate those built into Godot, which might be easier since it's one less piece of software to download. Plus, if you use JSON, it's a little bit like a little bit more friendly in terms of syntax than XML, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. If you can look at my notes if you have any other questions, but that's my basic thoughts.
Anybody else want to discuss it further?
Yeah, I have a question. Maybe it'll make everything easier for me. So, what are some examples of like what the industry uses when they make, whether it be a computer game or a console game?
There is no consistency. So this is.
What are some examples?
I know in Unreal there's data tables like built in.
Yeah,
that's what I use for some of my stuff.
Yeah, the problem in the gaming industry rarely follows good programming standards. I'm not kidding. There's book after book, article after article of people who worked in the gaming industry, dreamed. In fact, what was it? We were that book about game patterns.
The guy that worked at EA, I don't know. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. Everybody, I've had employees who have gone off because they were excited to become a game programmer or game tester or whatever. They turned down, some of my offers or left because they thought that was so exciting to do gaming. And I check in with them later, and they're always crestfallen about how chaotic an environment. I mean, look at what just happened with Cyberpunk. Right, a disastrous release for multiple reasons, but part of it, the reason why why it was burning through people and everything is because they're so disorganized, right? Bad coding practices, lack of standards, lack of communication. They haven't adopted what the enterprise has learned, because in the gaming industry there haven't been the same standards. Like they don't have SOX and PCI and all these other standards that they have to meet, where they have auditors come in and say, hey, is your code clean? Is it safe? Is it all these things that are audited all the time? They don't have that very much in the game industry.
There are
So-
people trying to do things like that, like
They're
on the
trying
open
to,
source
and it's
front, but like they don't have the authority, obviously. So it just
right. That's
doesn't
the thing.
really
There's
work.
no authoritative body to force them. But that's changing, right? As games have become bigger and bigger money, and gaming is big, $1 billion with a B, but it's tiny compared to enterprise, which is $1 trillion with a T, right? So the enterprise environment has had to struggle through all these things many years before, and the game industry is lagging behind in that. What the game industry uses is what usually the smaller game companies are usually run by one or a group of people who it's their pet project. They have a great idea and they're coders, and right, that's what you see what happen. And then they may or may not become the next great game company. And then you have a handful of the big dominant game companies who gobble up the other smaller companies all the time. And they get all these coders with completely different standards and approaches. For example, so one of my employees who was I was grooming to be CTO or CIO at a company I was training in, went off to become a game tester for GT Interactive. I don't know if you're familiar. They used to release a lot of games back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they had a hub in Salt Lake City, and he went off to become a game tester there. And so we'd come in and get to do free game. They'd pay us to come play games, fill out a form, get some free pizza, to come out and try out some new, alpha or beta games that they're getting ready for release. And just crazy hours and crazy environment, and there's a real lack of discipline, and so there isn't a standard. There's a standard per game or per group, right? You'll find
Per
that,
engine sometimes.
yeah, exactly, per engine or something like that. So you could look at that. So if you want to look at like the Unreal Engine or something like that, you could do that. But there isn't a game industry standard. I mean, look at all the different platforms and the consoles, right? They're only now starting to let you play cross network, right, on the console world, right? And that's something that's been demanded for decades, and they're only now getting around to kind of doing it, right? So there isn't a good programming standard in gaming. The design patterns are a good guideline, though. At least it's helping with that. As far as for our needs, I think the simplest approach that won't hamstring us is for the client, which is where we're at right now. Right, we're not working on the server side yet. For the client, JSON's probably just the simplest way to go, and we can focus on that for now. And I think we need to then consider the server side stuff differently than the client side, because the security issues once you go server side are very different than when it's just the client. And of the three, JSON has the weakest security. But for just playing the client shouldn't be an issue for what we're storing in it. And so we just use JSON for now. When we start talking about supporting, like the player supporting hosting or the dedicated server, then that's where I think we need to talk about XML and a dedicated SQL server of something, right? Either PostgreSQL or SQLite or whatever.
What if you input the JSON data into like an SQLite or a MySQL or something like that?
There's tools to export and import.
That might be like a good middle ground, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we can start with JSON for now and move forward. Say for the client side, we're good with JSON. Everybody, I don't hear anybody other than me having any issues with JSON. Am I missing anything? I think it's pretty much unanimous. Everybody's comfortable enough with JSON, and I'm not surprised because it's easy. And for starting out, that's not a problem. It's just that down the road scalability and stuff like I said, XML is designed better for the enterprise and for scalability, but we don't know if our app will ever get to that level. And again, go ahead.
I was gonna say XML also has the same like parsing built into Godot. So if we choose to use XML, we can do that right now if we wanted to.
Yeah, we could switch over. We could say 2.0, we're switching from when we refactor it, we could go from JSON to XML if we want. Those are all, I just, So I think for now, unless anybody has any objections, I think let's just go ahead and say JSON for the client side, and then we'll revisit when we start talking server side stuff, how we want to do that. But my recommendation for the server side is XML for all the config stuff, and then an actual SQL database. Whether if they're hosting it, if it's a player hosting the server, right, just like with Neverwinter Nights, where a player can do that, then we use SQLite. If it's a dedicated server, we use a full PostgreSQL or MySQL, and then but stick with XML for the configuration, because those generally if the average user is not going to be fiddling with, right? And then the only last thing I had was the config files for the client side. For most config files, I think we can stick with JSON, but I think we should probably have like an INI type file or whatever that is meant for users to understand for things that are tweakable. And I think that should be like a placeholder. It's not something we have right now, but I'm sure it will come up where we'll say, well, user wants to limit to like 6 users or something. I don't know. I don't even know right now. I just historically, there's always something that you go, well, it'd be nice if the user could configure this. Now, there's 2 ways we can do that. We can create an interface for them to edit and control that, or we just have a config file in the back end. And the advantage of doing a config file is they're less likely to mess things up because they have to go find it, as opposed to sticking it in a UI where they can fiddle with things and then blow it up, not knowing what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like some way to like streamline the process for the user.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
in my opinion, that's why I preferred JSON over XML, is because because the closing tags might seem confusing to people who aren't used to like web development and that kind of environment.
Sure.
So like,
yeah, that's why I
if you
said
even had to make your own JSON file, it'd just be like, okay, what's this do?
Right.
Just
Well,
type.
You'd mentioned potentially using text files for some of
that's
the
what I'm talking about. It's a
user
simple
driven,
text
right?
INI for the end user. It's a simple text config file. And we don't have a bunch of them. We would have one that if we think the user might want to edit this, we give them something that says such and such equals 5 or whatever, and they just need to change it to 3 or something. That would be the rare instance, rather than creating a whole UI piece that lets them configure it, which we can do. We can have everything in JSON and create all these UI controls, which will bog us down doing that. And I don't have a problem with doing that down the road, but I'm talking about for 1.0. Right? We'll want down the road to have more user configurable features. But we don't have to create every tool for that for 1.0. Part of it is we're going to need to have people play and give us feedback on what actually is needed, right? When we want to avoid analysis paralysis and trying to over design it, design things that nobody will actually use, right? So keeping the config file simple, just some sort of optional master config file. It doesn't have regular config stuff. And the plain text one can override whatever's in all the JSONs, right? It's normally left blank with placeholders. It could have remmed out examples, right? As we see this all the time in the open source world. Here's a whole bunch of examples of what you could do. It's all remmed out. Mess with at your own risk. These will override, the defaults. And that's a more user-friendly, to step towards more user-friendly without them messing with the actual JSONs. And if they screw up, they haven't touched the JSONs, they haven't been reconfigured. All they have to do is delete or replace that one text file, and everything goes back to default. Does that make sense?
That sounds good to me.
Hear from everybody else on that?
Yep.
Sorry, my brain just. It's okay. I just dozed off for a second. It's not that. It's just I lost focus for some reason. Like I zoned out. I understand your
I'm
conversation.
sorry to put you to sleep. Soothing.
No, it wasn't that. It was just like I don't know, like my body.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nothing with your.
Well, I did do the show, Dr. Z and the Synthetic Zen show. It's a late night show. We started at 10 p.m. Started out rocking, but by evening it would lull you to sleep with classical, new age, and trance music. Dr. Z and the Synthetic Zen show. Okay, so what we were discussing before you dozed off is that we'll go with JSON as the default for all the client-side tools.
And then once we get into the spot where we need to consider server side, we will have this discussion again, like for long-term data storage.
Right.
Okay.
Though then I would lean towards the XML and SQL.
No
But
problem.
for all the client side, stick with JSON with the one caveat of we have one plain text user.config file or something.
Which
that
most
has
games
a-
have something like that.
What's that?
Just for like a lot of games have like just like a text file or like
Exactly.
an INI.
Exactly. It'll override the JSON stuff, and if they screw up, all they have to do is delete that file, and it goes back to the whatever's in JSON. So it's an easy safety fallback, and we don't let them touch the JSON directly.
Sounds good to me.
Everybody like that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Valerie, you want to document that's our, for the client side, we're going to go with JSON as our data store, all of our configs, but we will have a user.config or user.ini, whatever you want to call it, player.ini, although that, whatever you want to call it. That is, user editable for with override examples. That, it is by default doesn't do anything, but options can be put in to override JSON options. And just deleting it will set everything back to whatever's in JSON, having to fiddle with it. That doesn't mean we need to use it. We can fiddle with the JSON ourselves, but for the end user. Just one place. We don't want to have to search all over.
Okay.
Document that.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Nailed that down.
So the next thing on the agenda was continuing Warlock of Firetop Mountain
Okay.
and doing the flowcharts and stuff.
All right. Go dig that up.
How far were I know we got to a point where we had to make a flowchart or something last time that we encountered.
We did have some flowcharts and we put them up on.
I was
Yeah.
trying to think where we were last at Firetop Mountain.
The last thing that happened was that everyone had made it past the first sentry by the door.
Okay.
And actually, I have in my notes that Luke, you would have been next up for wireframing.
Awesome. I was wondering if I was going to get to do that. I found this cool thing in draw.io, like you can make it look all like hand drawn, all the stuff. Which I think it's like Comic Sans level of taste. I think it's great.
Draw.io is awesome. I mean, it's gotten so much better.
Yeah, it has. It really has.
Yeah, I found it. What I was talking about. It's so tasteless. I love it.
Did you see in the Discord, he said you probably already know about Mine Test? That's basically the only good open source modern Minecraft alternative.
I can take a look at that. I keep Discord closed generally when we're here.
Yeah, because it gets noisy.
Oh, especially like if you don't have notifications, it's like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, I have
like,
most
oh.
of those turned off unless they actually say me specifically, everyone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just get bombarded all the time on my cell phone and everything else. Remember,
I can take a look at that while working ready. I'll take a Google search.
What page were we on?
I did not have page numbers.
Somebody took my Post-it out. Ah. All right, were we just sneaking past the century?
Yeah, everyone had just successfully gotten
Okay,
past.
I can find that pretty quick. Somebody took my Post-it out. Okay. West or east? We went west, correct? So,
Yes.
okay, goblin-like creature, test your luck. We got them. Some made it, some did not, right? So, but eventually we go to 301 because we already resolved the combat for that, right? Did we?
Yeah, we had, because some of us had
Yeah.
snuck past, and then some of us.
Yeah, so we already resolved combat. All right, so you're okay. So and then that was it. That's where we stopped.
Yes, that was the last
Okay,
thing that happened.
so that's option 301. If you want to help track when I say what option we go to, that
Okay.
might be helpful for stop. Not page number, but option number. Because there's several options on a page usually.
Okay.
All right. To your left, on the west face of the passage, there's a rough cut wooden door. You listen at the door and can hear a rasping sound, which may be some sort of creature snoring. Do you want to open the door? If so, turn to 82. If you press on northwards, turn to 8. So where are we at in the decision rotation here? Let me get to
Doug was the only one who had made a non-combat decision, so
get to our, this is all in GitHub, right? Our diagrams now.
yes.
The wireframes.
Yes.
Are you McDoug RPG?
Who's you? Me?
Who's
Doug.
McDoug RPG in GitHub?
Yeah, that's me, I think.
Oh, okay. So you created the wireframe. I just saw you. It looks like you're the only one uploading to the company. Huh.
I
Right.
thought Trevor and other made diagrams. I thought.
Well, I wonder if they did, but remember Nicholas created the company GitHub instead
Oh, so I wasn't able to get into that. The company.
yeah,
Oh, sorry,
RPG
I got-
Dash Research is the company one.
The company one I wasn't able to get into. I missed the notification to get an invite. Like
Are
it just got
you-
buried in my box.
Are you McDoug?
No, I'm a person guy get.
Oh, okay.
I'm
All right.
McDoug.
So you don't have an invite or something, right?
No.
Expired. All right. Let's
Yeah,
get,
it
let's
expired.
get everybody.
I saw it after it expired. I felt bad.
Let's fix that for everybody. Sure. We can all get to the. Patients. Sure. What's your GitHub username?
Mine is person guy get, and each word is capitalized all together.
Oh, so I guess you have to request to join. All right, so go to github.com.
Search. What was it on GitHub?
Well, you just go to
RPG
github.com/orgs/RPG-research.
So github.com.
Or just /RPG-research. The key thing is that the dash has been in.
Okay.
One without the dash is the one I created. See. Then there's a link to Teams. You can click on request to join team. I'll join the ERPG.
I see the repo and trying to figure out how to get to the join it.
Are you logged in?
Yeah. It says I'm in there. RPG dash research.
Yeah. The team
That's
members
where-
I see currently, I only see 3. There's RPG Research, Nicholas, and Dario.
Okay, that's you must be on the new one then. That's weird. I'm having trouble finding it.
Dario Garusi. It's the actual. All one word.
Can you send me a link? I'm just because I went to what you said and it just brought me to the old repo.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me switch.
It's no problem. I just
Well, we need to have everybody.
Yeah, in the
access
repo there are 6 contributors, but then when you go to the, I guess, I don't know if you would call it the homepage of RPG-research, there are only 3 people. If that makes sense.
it's saying there's no members at all when I look at RPG research. On the people side, at least. But it says no public members.
There's no public members. That's different.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so there are only 3 people on the team.
Yeah, we've got to get everybody
Dash
added.
research.
Since Nicholas set this up, we haven't really made the migration over.
But 6 contributors to the ERPG repo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I think it's because he migrated your individual contributions into it or something. I didn't do it, Nicholas. And unfortunately,
Gotcha.
Nicholas isn't here to fill us in.
OG Nick.
What's that?
I said, didn't we start calling him OG Nick for a little bit? We had 2 Nicks.
Why?
Because
I
we
thought
had
that's-
Nick G as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Which one?
Nick G. Well, both of them, but yeah, Nick G.
Just a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, the holidays. This is very typical.
Okay.
The Christmas craziness.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I post this link, logged in, be able to see that or not? Click it.
In oh yeah, I can see that. See that brought me to there, but it's not letting me join.
There's no public members. Yeah.
Okay. Trying to find where to add people. Repository.
I just made me public. My people.
So here's Teams. Team. Find a member, but that only add
Luke,
Steve to me.
Nicholas, and it was expired when you clicked on it. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, if you don't respond to the invite, then
Yeah, and it just got buried in my inbox.
I understand.
So
Just give me a minute because this interface is a little different than this org interface. Let's policy. the heck? Add, go to members, role, but filter it. Steve. This is a team member. See where I can add members. Flexible repository access. There's your team access. Mentions, use team mentions. Teams. Request to join teams. Do anything. App. Nicholas, what have you gotten us into? Okay, it says teams 0. Okay, so new team. Team. Oh, there is a team ERPG. Says there is a parent team of ERPG Dev. So I don't want to. Why does it say teams 0? Ay, ay, ay. All right. Such a simple thing. We can't do it. Okay, 2 teams, and there it is down there. RPG station, ability all. Hey there. How you doing, Dan? Hopefully you have a full crew today.
I got 3 people.
Good. We'll have fun.
Bye.
Doing our ERPG dev meeting. Fine. Participating in mentions. Well, I don't see the 3 members. All members, there's 3, but there's no add. Okay, let me do some lookup here. GitHub organization. All right. Organization members. Oh, maybe you have to be part of a org. Teams. Okay, so you guys just aren't even part of the organization yet. Organization. Access to your organization. Whip in your people to top right hand corner of GitHub profile. Weird. It's file. There's supposed to be an add member button. Ah, crap. I wonder if Nicholas is the only one who has permission to do that. Yeah, Nicholas is the owner. I don't have permission. That's why I can't
That's funny.
add you. All right, Nicholas. Let's see if I can get a hold of him. Because yeah, all of our diagrams and stuff, right? Find anything about the mind test while I'm waiting?
We did have notes on it from before. Although our notes did say that there wasn't a crafting table, so I don't know.
Hi, Nicholas, it's Hawk. Hey, you did not make me an owner or admin for the RPG research organization, so I can't add anybody. We have Dario, you, and me. You're listed as the owner. GitHub Central. So, meeting for 20 minutes. If you can pop in and help get this resolved, we really are able to do so. Go ahead and text me if you. Left a voicemail. I can do. All right. Well, so you said what was the problem? What were the notes say was the problem with it?
So we hadn't touched on it much, but the issues, one was that the map wasn't super realistic and that the pattern of trees felt really repetitive, and the other one was that there wasn't a crafting table.
But it appears none of them have crafting tables because
Right.
it looks like we need them to have survival mode. So it looks like, I mean, because the person in Discord's claiming that's the best of the modern Minecrafts, which is concerning. I guess we're not done with that. I guess we'll have to circle back around. Okay, so where are the flow diagrams then? They're back in the regular RPG, right?
I think they're in the new one.
Are they?
Yeah,
the
let me-
wireframes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas. Yeah, you are owner of the RPG research organization, and I have no admin privileges. GitHub organization you created. You're the owner, and nobody has admin, so we can't. Our meeting's wrapping up in about 19 minutes. That's fine. We'll deal with it after the Christmas break. All right. Slot. All right. He said he could do it in about an hour or so. Like, well, we'll go later then. Okay, so you said it was in the ERPG wireframes. So whoever McDoug RPG had uploaded. All right, so we got start game.
That's me.
So I guess that's just from the pull over. Extended conflict, flowchart, turn selector process, non-combat. 1107. Okay, so we got the 1107. Oh, so did we figure out how I can make this so I can turn this into a diagram? We uploaded it to there. So from this GitHub, I have to actually like download it because I mean it's not an image file. This is the .draw.io. Have you exported any images of it so you can just look at it? Or I guess if you just go ahead and screen share. Whoever's in charge of diagrams this time, go ahead and screen share.
Oh, you said it was my turn, right? Valerie?
Yeah.
So go
Okay,
ahead
so
and
we're
screen
making a
share.
diagram now.
Yeah, go ahead and pull up the non-combat turn.
Oh, non-com. Okay, I can get that one from the 1 sec. Gotta get it. It's not. There's turn selection process. Where's the non-combat?
It says it towards the end, non-combat.
I'm looking at the wireframes folder. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it should be
there
like the
it
last
is,
two.
Project
non-combat.
Ilmatar, Phase 2 flowchart, turn selection process, non-combat. 7.
You can't just download the file. Open this file on GitHub desktop, and then it'll let me download it, I think. No, I have to clone the whole repo. Okay, let me do
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna say I hope not to.
I can do that while we're talking.
This
I guess.
broadcast computer's not set up for.
1 sec.
Yeah, if you screen share though. We did receive the new computer that's going to be for broadcasting, dedicated for RPG research.
Awesome.
It has like 8 USB ports, so we can have a lot more camera angles.
You gotta get one of those Elgato Stream Decks.
Well, we've already got we already have a Stream Deck for pushing buttons to switch scenes and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
which really only works under Windows, though it can be programmed to work under Linux. But yeah, well, though yeah, we've got a
You
new
see my
dedicated
screen?
box. We'll be able to. Is that?
You see my screen?
Yep, we can see it. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, so users in game right now. So we have 1, 2, 3 of you because I tend to be the computer. I am the Master Control Program (MCP). Anybody remember that? The original Tron.
I've seen it. It's been a hot minute though.
Yeah. I was 10 or 11 when it came out, and that so inspired me to want to do more computer graphics. All right. So, users in game, we have 3. So U equals 3. We store the user count and user output 3 option random from user. So we've got to have a 3-sided die. Oh, somebody's jumbled them up. There's a 3. All right, and we're going to assign. So we've got Luke equals 1, Valerie 2, Mario. It's a 3, Dario. So, which do you want to do? Go through the door or continue north?
Definitely go through the door.
All right. Open the door, jump to 82. All right, 82. The door opens to reveal a small, smelly room. In the center of the room is a rickety wooden table on which stands a lit candle. Underneath the table is a small wooden box. Asleep on a straw mattress in the far corner of the room is a short, stocky creature with an ugly, warty face. The same sort of creature that you found asleep at the sentry post. He must be the guard for the night watch. You may either return to the corridor and press on northwards, or creep into the room and try to take the box without waking the creature. Want to try to steal the box? Test your luck. If you're lucky, they do not wake up. If you're unlucky, well. So now it's down to 2 people, which would be flipping a coin. Somebody flip a coin. Heads is 1, tails is 2. I don't have any coins on. I've got everything except. I guess I'll. Well, no, this has 3 results. All right, I'll just divide it. 1 to 3 is heads, 4 to 6 is tails. All right, heads
I
it
got
is.
tails.
What's that?
I rolled a thing and I got
Oh,
tails.
okay. Well, Luke, it's your turn.
Cool. So, what are my options now to go?
You can either continue on northward up the corridor or try to sneak in and try to take the box without waking the creature.
I want to take the box.
All right, so you're going to try to sneak in and steal it. So we have to test your luck. All right, this is Luke's, and your luck, you have, you're one of the 3 people with the lowest luck with an 8. All righty then. Do you remember how we test luck?
You roll 1d6, remember, right?
2d6.
Oh, it's 2d6,
Let
and
me
then
let me
if your
get it.
luck is
Let
left.
me pull it up. So how we tested. It's been weeks since we did this, months. Okay. Sometimes you'll be told to test your luck. As you discover, using luck is a risky business. The way you test your luck is as follows. Roll 2 6-sided dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky. Number rolled is higher, then you're unlucky. Consequences of lucky, blah, blah, blah. Each time you test your luck, you must subtract 1 point from your. Go ahead and roll 2d6.
I got 6.
You got 6 total?
Yeah.
All right, so we were lucky. Thank goodness. However, now your luck drops to a 7.
Okay.
But you creep in quietly, sneaking. And we were lucky. Does not wake up. We jumped to 147. You leave the room and open the box in the passage. Inside you find a single piece of gold and a small mouse, which must have been the creature's pet. Keep the coin and release the mouse. Oh, I would have kept the mouse.
Free
I would have
pet.
given the mouse back.
What's that?
I would have given the mouse back. That
Oh,
poor
okay.
guy lost his mouse.
Could be food.
Yeah.
Could be an important spell component. I don't know. Which scurries off down the passageway. Gain 2 luck points and turn to 208. So that's the nice thing about luck is if you do succeed, you might gain back. Now 8 is your maximum, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go above 8. That's okay.
Is that party wide? Is that party wide or just? Yeah.
I'm just doing it to the person because I don't want to have to change everybody's luck every time. I'm just modifying the stat of the person who it impacts. As far as our game system, I guess the way again we're kind of breaking things with this. It's only meant for 1 player. We're just using this to simulate the situations. The way it would be in the video game that we're writing is somebody would choose to sneak while everybody else remained behind, right? Because you wouldn't all 6 sneak into the room simultaneously and all 6 try to take. I mean, you could, but odds are you're going to fail as you fight over the box. I can see
No, it's
that.
my box, my mouse.
Yeah. A total 3 Stooges things times 2. Yeah, that would. So basically, at this point in the selection stage, the person who got to make the choice, gets to make the test roll, right? Now, if we were in a chat room, we would say, "Hey, who has the best luck for trying this?" Right? Who wants to go? Right? We could collaborate that way. But we're not at that stage. But because again, we're just trying to prove that mechanically we've got the flow worked out, so that when we write the code, we've tested this flow already. Right? This is not a perfect test model because it's only meant for 1 player character, but we're simulating the circumstances that will come up in the game. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm only modifying the person. As far as the gold, everybody gets the treasure. So we've all got the treasure. But as far as the loss of stats, increase of stats, it just impacts the person who's doing that particular task. In combat, we rotated between everybody, so each person could be impacted. But it does not affect everybody simultaneously, right? Because we're doing this turn-based. Unless it's an area of effect thing. Yes. Yeah. What's wrong? Which channel?
So did we all
with
get a
the
mouse?
default-
I'm confused.
Oh, with
We let the mouse go, right?
and you can't get it right now. Hang on a sec. I got to help Dan for just a sec.
No problem.
Part one. Nicholas just sent an email with all of the updated passwords, and let me get on the server. He's got a community program thing he's got to run, so I got to get this. Did it get deleted? No, show Spark. It's gone. Got it back. So somehow Spark got. Let me. You know what? We may have gotten rid of it because of Spark Central. Now
That I kind of figured.
let's look at the link. This is for which one? Tyranny?
Tyranny of Dragons, yes.
Apps. Oh, jeez. It's deleted. I don't know why. All right, let me hurry and recreate it. I'll have to restart the server though, which is going to be out in this. All right.
Let them know.
Yep. All right, and we might get kicked out. Just hurry and join back right after. I got to restart a service. Oh. Ah. How's your group been doing?
It's been okay. We got hit a kind of like a slow patch because of the transition.
How's their group dynamic?
They they're still kind of storming, but they storm a bit more when Tyler is present.
Why is that?
He's
Disruptive?
a bit more disruptive.
They don't have any clear leadership to help.
Well, there is clear leadership, but he's not acknowledging it.
Then you need to talk to him. Private.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be a chew out or anything.
Mhm.
Stand. And put it in terms he'll relate to. Like, realize if you don't start working together, I mean, I guess you can do it without singling them out. Hey, I notice you guys are still in storming phase. You should know you guys don't start getting it together. You will have a TP. That would be a way to handle it. So you guys really need to start getting into norming phase. Norming, you'll have to explain a little bit. Yeah.
I've also found that always at game.
Right.
Well, that sometimes he's at a different game. I think I'm his backup game.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not keep.
Fortunately, the group is consistent about it.
So I guess that's the end of that broadcast. We have more coming up Sunday for